And I thought, that's all right. I'm getting the independent testimony of members of the public who'd witnessed. Now, she testified that her husband appeared in full regalia with his chain of office and everything. You see, it's all in the book I've given you. And you'll read examples of testimonies from members of the public who witnessed Mrs. Duncan. They don't vary from my descriptions. They never varied. But what is in common is they were all recognised. The dialogue took place, a two-way dialogue. It wasn't just from the person in the room, it was the spirit that was talking as well, you see. And you got this cross-conversation. And when you used to sit there and listen to it and watch it, you know, it was quite some... But, as I say, the book was a labour of love, and I felt her memory should be kept. And the purpose of the book was to vindicate her from the slander and the gossip that was still persisting about this medium. She was a cheat, she was a fraud. Well, you know, she was exposed at during the witchcraft trial. She couldn't defend herself in the dock as a witness because she wasn't privy to anything. She was totally unconscious. That was the reason why she couldn't speak in the witness box. And they even discredited her for that. They said, oh, she hadn't got a word to say in the witness box. You see, it all sounds dramatic. But the point is, if they understood that Mrs. Duncan never was conscious of anything that took place at her seances, she didn't really want to know because she was frightened of it all. That's why the deep trance state was employed. Albert knew what he was doing. And they looked after Helen all those years. But the final tragedy, the blow, was when the 9 police in Nottingham. And the spirit people could no longer go on protecting her against this continuous onslaught of interference and interruption because it was always a dangerous thing to do with physical mediumship. I know one medium that was blinded. And when he came out of trance, he was totally blind. Somebody had shone a torch on his face during the sitting, and it caused him to be blind for the rest of his life. And there was the medium who went to South Africa, Alec. He'd been doing wonderful stuff in Cardiff in Wales. I sat with him for 6 months, 24 weeks. I saw some extraordinary things. I saw one day Mr. Harris sitting in his chair, dematerialised from the head down. I'd seen materialisations building up and dematerialise, but I'd never seen a human being dematerialise. And he's sitting in his chair, and his guide was walking around the room. North American, one of the guides. And I saw Alec Harris's head slowly go, and there was just the shoulders and the torso. Then the torso went, and it gradually dematerialised. So there was just his feet on the ground. Well, I was holding my breath. I thought, I'm not imagining it. I'm not hallucinating. So I nudged the lady sitting next to me and I said, what's happened to Alec Harris? She said, oh, he's all right. He'll be around somewhere. Just so blasé, you know. They were used to this. They'd seen it before. I hadn't seen it before.
Alan, I'm going to stop you.
Oh.
The voice is going.
All right.
Tummy's whizzing around like a carousel.
No, well, as I was talking about that, I was just getting into that. But can I just finish that? Because it's quite... I will finish it.
After that is
all right.
whiskey
and then I'm going to have a cigarette, and if I can have a little botty or something. You see, with this stomach problem, I have it's a little and often. And I can't eat big meals or anything, but a little and often. And I've gone too long without something. But I'll just finish this about Alec Harris. The guide, when I said he must have heard me saying, where's Alec? And the guide turned to Alec's wife, who used to have a seat with her back to the door that was bolted and barred. Nobody could get in that room or out of it without her knowing or anybody knowing, because he always sat in a red light. You could see everybody in the room. And then the guide said to his wife, Louis Harris, he said, unlock the door, go downstairs into the garden, you'll find your husband, this is the medium, Alec Harris, on his knees on the lawn. Wake him up and bring him back. Well, I'm sitting there saying, my goodness me. And in he comes with his wife, as large as life, goes and sits in his chair and goes back into trance. Now, Alec Harris had no conscious memory of anything happening to him at all. But you see, they were able to do this while the medium was in a deep trance. They could dematerialise him, transport him into the garden. Yeah, but his wife had to wake him up out of his trance to bring him back.
Right, that's it.
Can
Sorry.
we just do one quick thing?
Yes, go on.
Okay.
Just what?
It's been a very exciting day, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it?
So,
It's just bombarding us from all directions, isn't it?
so why don't you start with a full sentence and tell me, like, today is like the culmination of a lot of things for you, right?
Oh yes, oh yes. It's all coming together. So many things, different things coming together. After so many years, the truth will out, as they say, and it's coming out in no uncertain way. When newspapers feature it right on the masthead almost, on the front pages, then that's dynamite really. And the opposition are just sent packing. While the truth takes the forefront, you know, comes to the forefront. And it's time. It's taken, what, 50 years? Or, no, about 35 years, something like that.
How does it make you feel it's finally?
Oh, I'm so proud. In a way, I feel it's justice is about to be seen to be done, you see, and it wasn't done at the time. And they thought they'd all got away with it. But they didn't bargain for the campaign that's now been running for some time, that Jim McQuarrie and Michael Colmer and several other people behind the scenes have all been cooperating together to get this thing into motion. And it's people like yourselves who are recording these interviews and things, where people who knew Helen and knew the work she did, the wonderful gift she possessed, could be so treated in the manner she was treated. But this follows through history, doesn't it? You've got it all cases. Joan of Arc, I always compare her as a Joan of Arc. She was martyred the same way, because Joan of Arc heard voices, but nobody wanted to know. And especially the state, you know, the status quo and all that, just doesn't want to know. But you see, it's grabbing the headlines in almost every newspaper, isn't it? In the United Kingdom, Scotland and England. I don't know, well, some of the Welsh papers will have run it, the story, quite well. But it's... the day has come. The day... Every dog has its day, they say, you know. Every dog has its day. Well, Helen's day has come, albeit late, but better late than never.